Hey everybody, welcome to our Sunday night Zoom call, and I am so glad that you have joined us, and I'm super excited because tonight we have something we don't have very often on our call. I have a new friend thanks to our company that we met. I believe we had lunch together almost a year ago. And it's so funny because the meeting was like all the way across on the other side of the country. And we find out that we live like an hour away from each other here in California. So I would like to introduce to you Dr. Geraldine Brosfield, I believe is how you say her name. And she is going to tell us her story. So I have unmuted you. You are good to go.
Cool. Thank you, Tricia. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. Well, yeah, Tricia and I had like this instant bond, and it was really funny because we figured out that Tricia works at the medical center where I did my medical training. So pretty cool. You know, I've been a GYN physician for about the last 15 years. And in my practice for the first 9 years, it seemed like patient after patient would come in, and you guys may know the drill. It's like you're sitting at the GYN office on the end of the table, dreading that pap smear. And I, as the doctor, would look up and, my notes would be that the patient had maybe, said last year that they were going to join a weight loss plan and they were going to lose some weight or get in shape. And notoriously, they actually had gained more weight or weren't any less weight than they were the year before. And I just honestly, as a doctor, felt like I was failing them because I had no method that gave us predictable results. And so when I learned about Take Shape for Life, actually one of my drug reps walked into the office. He had lost 186 pounds. And I was like, you don't know that I've been praying and looking and working on writing up a protocol for something that would be predictable for people. And what was beautiful was that Take Shape for Life offered a system that had all three parts that are recommended not only by like the American College of Cardiology, the American Heart Association. All these associations have criteria that are basically, how do you weigh, a weight loss program and tell if it's snake oil or not? And this program met every single one of those. It had education, it had a structured eating plan, and it had support and a way that you could build community. And so I was hooked on the concepts, and I thought, well, let me just try this. I'm going to put it into place. And so I started within that next couple months with a small group of patients, and what was kind of crazy is it spread like wildfire. Within a month, I had 30 patients who had said, yes, I want to try something that is vetted by Hopkins. It's like a high-grade medical program. And so when I started that, it really was just with the intention of being able to help my patients. And about, halfway through that month, my health coach that was working with me to coach my patients and train me kind of in an apprenticeship fashion like our company does, my health coach said, Geraldine, do you need to lose weight? She and I had actually never met face-to-face. That's one of the beauties of doing this work is you can do it virtually. You don't have to have a brick and mortar building. And so I said to her, I could lose a little bit of weight. I didn't have a lot of weight to lose. And so I went on program, and I was on program for 2 weeks. I lost 8 pounds in that 2 weeks, which was like how you get winter weight and you want to get it off for the summer. It was about this time of year. But when I lost that weight, there was something else that happened that was really the most remarkable thing for me, because I was thrilled to, get in my summer clothes, but I had really struggled with stress and anxiety for a long time, for years, and it was just getting worse and worse. And in fact, I don't know, Trisha, I think it was probably 1 or 2 months before I learned about Take Shape for Life, I had called a girlfriend doctor of mine and said, hey, would you put me on an antidepressant? Because I just am feeling so stressed and anxious. And she was like, Geraldine, how much did you eat yesterday? How many times did you exercise? How much are you sleeping? I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. I'm not doing healthy things. So when I went on program and really put into place eating every 3 hours, where I had a structured amount, like I was getting more protein in my day by eating my meal replacements than I'm a vegetarian, so I had not been getting enough protein, and I didn't realize what went away when I went on program was anxiety. And so for me, like the life-changing piece for me personally was really more the loss of anxiety, even more than the weight. Because when your blood sugar is steady, you don't have these hypoglycemic blood sugar drops that were honestly the source of my anxiety. And Tricia, I don't know, as a nurse, I suspect you work in a setting where you're watching people's blood sugar all the time. So what I'm saying doesn't surprise you, but as a doctor, I feel kind of stupid that it took me going on program to figure that out about myself. But that was my personal, like, big deal. And then my patients have just, like, I can't even explain the reward that it's been for them to succeed. My first patient on program lost 65 pounds. She's kept it off for 6 years. The next 28 lost their weight. And so we've had a predictable method now that's helped thousands of my patients. And now we have health coaches working with us that are spreading that ripple effect out further than I ever could as an individual doctor.
Can you tell us a little bit about your wellness center that you are now the director of and how that worked out, or was that already in place, or how did that happen?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of things that the universe conspires or God conspires to put in our way the way they're supposed to be. So about 3 years ago, I had been using Take Shape for Life in my practice, and I was now working with my hospital as a physician on staff there. And a position came open that was to direct the Wellness Institute for the Coachella Valley, for Eisenhower Medical Center. And as a GYN, I had gone on and done other training. Once I started with Take Shape for Life, it was like the floodgates opened to wanting to be a better supporter of people in lifestyle changes. So I had done my boards in obesity medicine, and so when this position came open, I walked in and they said, well, would you want this? And at first I said no, because it was really structured in a way that needed change. And I finally said, you know what, if you let me make it a blank slate and start over, I'll write a proposal and come in. And they said, hell yes. And so we started, and the beauty of it was that the learning that I had done in Take Shape for Life, Tricia, you and I both use the Habits of Health, as all of us as coaches have this beautiful education system that lets us, you don't have to be a doctor, you don't have to be a nurse. It may add to your circle of influence or your credibility, but gosh, my best health coaches are not medical professionals. So when I took this position, what I ended up doing was basing it on the Habits of Health with Dr. Anderson. He was our very first speaker to come in as our new speaker series for the Wellness Institute. And we built our program on the concept of health coaching. We use Take Shape for Life as one of the options for clients coming in. We coach them around the habits of health, how to implement support for sleep and for exercise and for healthy, low glycemic eating so that they can maintain their weight off for a lifetime, and just use that as their first sort of platform or step in the process of healthy living. Because as you know, this is, it's true that the very first step of our program is around weight loss, and it's what sort of grabbed me at the beginning. And that's true of a lot of people. It's where a big need is, but it honestly is the very first step, and there's lots of steps after that, because who knows what your dreams and goals and hopes are, that this is just the very first step to, and all the rest we want to encourage people to keep going towards. So the Wellness Institute uses these principles to work in our valley and help people create lasting lifestyle changes.
Wow, talk about a ripple effect. That is a big ripple happening down there. That is very exciting.
It's pretty cool.
So thank you so much. I love that. Does anybody have any questions for Geraldine as a doctor? I don't know about the program. We have a doctor right here. Anything? Anyone? Raise your hand. Unmute yourself. They're so polite and well-behaved on this call. Nobody even says anything. All right. Well, thank you so much. And like I said, if you need to run, then feel free to go. But thanks again. And I will post the playback later, and you can share it out if you'd like.
Tricia, you're so welcome. And, one of the things I'm just going to say about blood sugar before I go.
Yes.
The biggest... There's two parts of this program. I sometimes say you can't solve a why question with a how answer. And so the beauty of our program is that it really gets to people's why. Like, why are you living? What's your purpose? Why are you here? And a lot of times, because I'm a doctor, I'm asked to talk more about the how, which is like the details. And we as people are probably more comfortable in the how than the why, because the why puts us out of our comfort zone. In the how, with the blood sugar piece, I just want people to realize that this program is so it is the prototypical, like, scientific way to stabilize blood sugar. I don't know how many diabetics we've reversed their diabetes and cured it, in essence, as long as they eat well. And so on the house side, what I love is that we can just stand behind this 100%, 200% as far as really stabilizing blood sugar, which then lowers the risk of Alzheimer's, cancer, diabetes, heart disease. And that's why I use it as the basis in our wellness program.
Exactly.
So huge thumbs up.
Becky, it looks like Becky has a question for you before you go.
Okay.
I do have a quick question. Would this program be, there's no contraindication if anyone's had a transplant, like an organ transplant?
I would not think so, Becky, and I always would talk with the doc, and one of the things that's beautiful, and depending on what you need and sort of your own expertise, if you were a client, for instance, I would have your coach connect with even nutritional services, for instance, and help with a customized program for the person if there were restrictions that their doctor wanted to put in place. Sometimes there'll be a sodium restriction, for instance, in a kidney transplant patient, and this program meets those criteria beautifully. It's a low sodium program, so I know of no contraindications to that.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
I do have a client who I've just been working with just this week, and she has stage 1 chronic kidney disease. So she is concerned about the sodium, and if you just keep her at the 5 meal replacements and her lean and green and not add anything to it, then we're still well under the requirements of what we need for her. So I'm excited for that. All right, looks like she had to pop away, so we will thank her for that. And then I would next like to introduce Jen. And hold on, and I will unmute you. Thank you so much, Dr. Brosfield. And Jen is here. So Jen, I was excited by seeing her story and her pictures in our secret client page. And I said, we have to get her on the call. So here she is, and take it away. Tell us a little about yourself and your client story and that kind of thing.
Sure. So yeah, my name is Jen, and I currently live in Georgia. I'm about to turn 47 years old. I have a pretty normal weight struggle story, I think. You know, I have never been a tiny person pretty much all my life. I have struggled with my weight up and down. I was an athlete early on. I always played a lot of sports when I was younger. But for whatever reason, I was always considered a heavier girl and poked fun at for, you know, again, I question why, because I look back, I always say, I look back at my pictures from high school, and I weighed about 140 pounds. I was a size 12, very average, but I guess back in the 80s, that was considered big. I don't know. But I also come from a family of 10. There's 10 of us total. 2 of us are natural children. The other 8 are all adopted. And I have 5 brothers and 4 sisters, so we're a nice even amount. And for the most part, it was good. However, one of my brothers decided very early on to give me the nickname the Blimp. So I pretty much went through my entire childhood, and sometimes even being called that by my father. He never really stuck up for me, thought it was funny. It was kind of a joke around the house, but it was just, that's pretty much my, you know, how I grew up. And so I was always very aware. However, I think I found food a comfort, and I would, you know, quietly eat by myself. I would sneak food because I didn't want anybody poking fun at me, especially my brothers, things like that. But when I got into my 20s, I ended up, I had my first child, Lauren, who's actually on the call with us today. I had her at 24 and my second child, who was 11, at 35. But after my first pregnancy, of course, you know, you gain all of, you know, your pregnancy weight, and that was tough to get off as well. But through my 20s and 30s, it was a constant roller coaster, up and down, up and down. I was working out like a maniac, then I got tired of it and then put the weight back on. And it was that roller coaster everybody talks about. I've tried every diet under the sun. The only ones I haven't tried are like Jenny Craig and Nutrisystem. Those are the only two. Done Weight Watchers 1,000 times over, never was successful. Way too boring for me, counting all those points, and it was just too stressful. And so when I turned 40, I decided that I was going to, take my life back. And I went back to the gym. I started doing CrossFit, got hooked pretty quickly. But it took me almost 2 years to lose 30 pounds. And with this plan, I'm in week 6. Well, I'm in week 7 now, but as of my week 6 weigh-in last week, I was down 25 already. And I have not done anything but walk my dogs. And so, I mean, if you can imagine, I was ecstatic. I couldn't believe it when I got on the scale, and I thought to myself, wow, all that wasted time, all that wasted energy. And when I think back to the gym fees, the time I spent at the gym, the time that I did not spend with my younger child because she was at daycare all day while I was at work, I would pick her up, go home, feed dinner, and then go to the gym and put her back in a daycare so that I can work out. And my reasons were because there was one night where I was laying on the floor and, can you close the door, please? I'm talking. I told you I'm on a call. Shut the door. Excuse me. I'm on a call. No, bye. No, yes, go, bye. Sorry. So I was laying on the floor watching television. My oldest child, Lauren, if you want to unmute her, she can testify to this. She lifted up my hips off the floor and dropped them to the floor. And she basically was like, Mom, you might want to do something about that. And so it just kick-started me. And then, like I said, that's when I went real hard and heavy into the gym. And then I ended up having to have knee surgery. So, like I said, it's just this constant, there's always a reason, there's always something that's happening and whatnot. This time around, Tracy Holcomb, who is my health coach, posted her time-lapse video. And I watched it probably 10 times. And I thought, there's no way. I said, this is not true. Something's not right here. What did she do? She starved herself. This cannot be true. And I stalked her like a maniac until she answered me finally in a private message. I kept saying, you've got to tell me what you did and whatnot. But she finally did. But at the same time, I thought, well, I was going through, not really depression, because I'm not that type of person. I'm pretty happy and I can deal with it. But I will say this, there was not a day that I woke up, I would say the past 3 or 4 months, that I didn't say, oh my God, you've got to do something. I'm not comfortable getting dressed for work. I am huge. I had gotten up to about 216 pounds. Nothing fit. I refused to go back into like a size 20. I had a few 18s left that fit, and I was just miserable. And it was the voice in my head that was constantly just on me. Like, how dare you come home from work and just sit here? You need to go to the gym. So I joined Planet Fitness, and then I joined, we have a gym here, another gym. So I joined 2 gyms, one close to the house and one close to work, thinking, okay, well, I've got to get to one of them somehow, some way. I attempted it a few times. It didn't work out. On top of that, my youngest daughter plays travel softball, which takes a lot of my time. So she's also a pitcher. She takes private lessons, pay a lot of money for that, which means on my time off, I have to work with her to make sure that she's getting better doing what she's doing. So there goes my time again. So I paid all those gym fees and never went. And again, the guilt just set in and set in and set in. And as this was happening, all of a sudden, that one day Tracy posted this video and I was like, okay, this can't be that easy. And sure enough, flash forward to today, I had talked to my husband. I said, let me just try this for 30 days. There's a price on it. I get it. But here's how it breaks out. Let me just try 30 days. And he said, let's do it. Whatever, makes you happy. If you think you can do it, let's do it. And so, well, here I am. And I have no desire to give this up whatsoever. It's been so easy. The first few days, of course, a lot of time spent in the bathroom because you pee like crazy. But once I got through that first week, it became a habit, and it's just gotten easier and easier. And, we're a family that goes out to eat a lot. Simple, haven't struggled 1 ounce yet. I made it through a trip to Vegas. I've made it through a conference for work. I'm about to head out to another one this week, and I have no fear whatsoever. I know exactly what I need to do. And so that is that. But let me tell you real quick about my short time success. I am out of a 16, back into my 14s already. I had a whole bottom drawer full of shorts that prior to starting this, again, we live in Georgia, so it's been hot for a while. I put those shorts on, 7 weeks ago, and I couldn't even button half of them. And now I would have to say the majority of them, maybe 2 pair, are all too big. I don't even have to unbutton them to put them on. I just pull them right up. So, I mean, I've just never had such short success, such easy success, such a success that worked with my lifestyle. I mean, that for me is first and foremost. The grab and go meals, they allow me never to fail. It's my own choice. So, if I don't eat the meals when I'm supposed to, that's my fault. It's not the plan. So it can't be any easier for me. So yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan. I can't wait to stay on it pretty much for the rest of my life. I mean, the food's real good. I'm really, really happy with it. And I do, now that I've been talking about it, there's a lot of people in my circle that have done this plan that nobody spoke about it, which I thought was a little strange. But I found more and more people that are on this plan and having just as much success as I am. So that's my story, and I couldn't be happier. I'm glowing every day. I love it.
Your pictures look amazing. So did I see correctly, have you also decided to pay it forward, and did you become a coach?
I did.
So does that mean you're actually going to be telling people about it?
I am.
Wow, that's so cool.
I am. I mean, it kind of left me no choice. I was telling Tracy and Michael, my 2 coaches, how excited I am. And I only posted that 6 weeks. I didn't even post a picture. I just posted my 25-pound weight loss, and my private messages just blew up. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like. Actually, Lauren and I talked about this. My older daughter, she's on the plan as well. We talked about doing our success story at the end and doing our before and afters together.
I like that.
So we're looking forward to that. And I'm sure that's going to get a lot of messaging.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. Yeah.
Sure. Congratulations. You look amazing. Your smile is what I noticed. I think that happens to be like in most of the after pictures, the smile is so much different.
Thank you. Yeah.
From everybody.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. What has been maybe the habit that you've changed of the habits of health that we teach our clients, and the one that you've learned that's really stuck for you? What is the one that really stands out for you?
Well, the funny thing about it is, I was always a good eater. Monday through Friday, I made my lunch every day, took my lunch to work. I was not someone who ate out. I'm not a fast food freak. I try to stay away from all of that. And I often wondered, why am I not losing weight? And actually, why am I gaining weight? And then, there was a point where I just kind of threw my hands in the air and said, the heck with all this. And then I started stopping at the candy jar at work and, doing all that. So for me, it's the convenience of the meals. It's not having to think about it. I said this to Tracy and to my daughter the other day. All of y'all that are posting those awesome recipes, have at it. I want nothing to do with it. The easier, the better for me. If y'all want to spend time trying to figure that out and doing the measuring and all that, great. fantastic. If that's what makes it easier for you, that's wonderful. But for me, it's a cup and a half of vegetables and a protein, and I'm out the door. I don't have time to be like, oh, I think I want a cool pizza tonight. No, I'm having my fish, I'm having my chicken, and I'm having my vegetables, whatever form it comes in that night, and I'm out the door. And that's the other thing. I mean, it leaves me no choice but to be successful, because it's just that easy. And I can't even tell you how busy I mean, literally, I wake up at 5:30. I'm out the door at 10 to 7 o'clock. Well, I try to get out by 7. You know, I have my meals at 9, 12, 3, 6, and 9 o'clock again. And it's like every day. It's really easy. If I'm not going to be home, I take it with me. If I have to eat out, I know what I'm going to have. And I stick to the same thing. I'm a creature of habit. So I've created that, and it's made it really easy for me.
Don't you feel, I felt like when I started this, it was kind of like the no-brainer approach to how to do it. Mm-hmm. And for a lot of people, it's a better idea to not exercise in the beginning was just like bonus. Yeah. You know, I don't have to kill myself at the gym, and I don't have to think about what I'm doing. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing, the no exercise for me. I mean, I like to be fit. I mean, like I said, I'm an athlete. I still would love to get out there and run or walk or, you know, play sport or do something. But the honest truth is I just don't have time for that. And I was getting really tired of feeling guilty about not having the time to do that for me, and putting on the weight. The weight was coming on faster than I expected it to. And it was really starting, you know, to beat me up. Like I said, every day, all day, sometimes I would think about it. And this just makes it so easy. And I laugh, you know, now, you know, everybody at my job knows that I'm on this plan. I've shared it with everyone because I'm in a meeting and I'm like, sorry guys, I got to eat. It's you know, have you all had lunch yet? And they're like, no. I'm like, well, I've ate 4 times today already. And I mean, you know, so they chuckle at me. But now instead of watching me eat gaining weight, they watch me eat and lose weight. And they're trying to figure it out. They're like, she's eating all the time. How is she losing weight? So actually my boss is thinking about getting on the plan. So we'll see. We'll see if he finally does. But yeah, it's so easy.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Well, thank you again for sharing your story. Anybody have any questions for Jen? Anybody? Raise your hand. All right. Well, then let's talk. We have in our secret group, we always post the next habit of health of the week, and it hasn't actually been changed for today. So I'm going to say, how about let's focus on sleep. That's just going to be, I'm going to determine that is the habit of health for this call at least. And I don't know about you, but did anybody here know about the importance of sleep when it came to weight? I had no clue that it was factored that closely to this whole gaining and losing weight business. No idea.
I knew it was. It's still hard to get it in though.
It is still hard to get it in, but it's like, wow. So this whole sleeping 4 hours a night is not good for me, and no wonder I can't lose any weight. Interesting. So anyway, if you are interested in learning more about it, it is in chapter 17 of your Habits of Health, and it is lesson 13 in your companion workbook. So I highly advise you to pick that up and do some work there. When you do the work in the Living a Longer, Healthier Life, I find that it will stick better for you. It'll make more sense. And that's what makes this not a diet. Because this, guys, is about the rest of our lives and creating habits that are going to help us keep this weight off for the long haul. So on that note, thank you so much for joining us, and I'm glad you were here. Thank you so much, Jen, and the doctor who's gone already, Dr. Brostfield. Appreciate it. See you guys all next week. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.